In this video, we will show you how to install your AC compressor bypass pulley on this Dodge Ram. This will be mounted directly where your AC compressor is located, on top of your engine. Let's get into it. All right, friends, let's get started on our job. The first thing you need to do is have a professional evacuate the AC system. There is refrigerant in it and it's under pressure. Now that we've recycled the AC refrigerant, we'll continue on with paying attention to the belt routing. You'll find that the belt goes over some pulleys and it goes under others. It's important to take note of exactly which way it goes. After that, we'll make our way right down here to the serpentine belt tensioner. In the center of that pulley, you'll find that you have a 15mm headed bolt. You can either use a wrench or just a serpentine belt tool. We'll turn this clockwise to release the tension, and then we can pull the belt off of the AC compressor pulley. We don't have to fully remove the belt, but it is a good idea to give it a thorough inspection. When you're doing so, you want to pay attention to the backing, make sure it doesn't look ripped or damaged, and then of course to this area along here where all the grooves are. If you see a whole bunch of cracks, typically it's a good idea to go ahead and replace that belt. This one looks perfect, so we'll just go ahead and set that aside. Now we can start removing our upper air filter housing. To remove this, we'll start with the breather hose along the passenger side. Just go ahead and take hold of that, give it a little wiggle and pop it right out of there. We'll give it a quick squeeze, make sure it's soft and pliable and it's not torn, worn, or damaged in any way. We can set that aside. We'll continue on to the air inlet tube. For this, typically you just give it a little wiggle and it should slide right off of there. Now we can continue on along the driver's side of this so we can loosen our clamp. Use our 8mm to loosen this clamp. Now we can carefully start lifting this up and out of here. With that out of the way, let's start disconnecting some electrical connectors. We have this one right up across the top of the AC lines. For this, there's a small squeeze tab. We'll squeeze on that. We should be able to slide this right off. We'll give it a quick check for corrosion. It's just good habit. Make our way down here to this other electrical cable. This one leads to the AC compressor. We want to disconnect that by squeezing on the locking tab once again. We'll just slide that right out. Quick check for corrosion. Let's continue on to disconnecting the lines from the top of the AC compressor. In the center of the two lines, you'll find that you have one 10mm headed bolt. We'll remove that, and then we can disconnect the lines from the compressor. Now keep in mind, when you're disconnecting something like this, there could still be a little bit of pressure left in the system. We'll take hold of that, lift it up and off of here. Let's follow those lines over to where they have this bracket, directly above the alternator. Now what we're looking for is a 14mm nut that's holding this bracket down. We'll remove that mounting nut. There's that. Now we should be able to lift up on these lines and we'll get them out from underneath this area. At this point, we can continue on to removing the AC compressor. To do this, you'll find that you have 5 mounting bolts, 2 along the front, and then you have 3 along the back that go down through a bracket. Let's get this one over here. Now we can make our way towards the back of the AC compressor. We have the 2 mounting bolts across the back of the compressor, and then this one that's holding the bracket down as well. Let's get this last one. We'll reach back here and remove the bracket. This should be dismounted. We can lift it up and out of here. There it is, friends. All right, let's get ready for the installation of our brand new bypass pulley. We'll take this and put it in position. Trying to align my 3 mounting bolt holes. We have one along the rear here, and then both of them along the front. In your kit, you'll find that it came with several bushings. We're going to be using 3 of the longer ones. We'll take those and you can slide them right into that center hole. Start in each of your mounting bolts before you tighten any of them. Now we can bottom these out. Let's snug this last bolt here. Once we have them all snug, we'll torque them to 41 foot-pounds. The next thing that we'll want to do is pay attention to the pulley on the AC compressor bypass. What we're looking to see is whether or not this pulley is aligned with all the rest of the pulleys. It's common to find that it's pushed in a little bit. So if you were looking at it, the other pulleys will be sticking out a little bit further. If that's the case, you're going to make your way down to the center bolt. Use a 15 millimeter to remove the bolt, and then we'll use our spacer right behind that pulley. This one out of here. Just got a couple threads left. We have our bolt and our outside washer. We'll keep the 2 of those together. Take hold of that pulley. We'll give it a wiggle. Can pop it right off. Continue on with your spacer. Just slide it right on here. Now we can reinstall the pulley. Let's just make sure that's nice and snug. Now we can continue on reinstalling the belt. As we're doing so, we want to be paying attention to each one of our grooved pulleys, making sure that the grooves on the belt itself is sitting perfectly. Now while I'm applying pressure to this, I'll make my way back down to the tensioner. Turn this clockwise to release tension, and we can slide that over the idler pulley. Remove your belt tool and inspect the belt. Make sure it's sitting properly over each one of the pulleys. Double check to make sure that the bypass pulley is sticking out into the proper position. If it's not aligned properly, the belt might look like it's on there right, but it might be at an angle, and when you start up the vehicle, it's going to come flying off and potentially get damaged. Let's reinstall our air filter box. We'll take this and slide it over the throttle body back there. Double check to make sure it's completely seated all the way around on the throttle body. Once you're sure it's down, continue on by tightening that 8 millimeter headed clamp. Now I'll take hold of this, give it a little wiggle to make sure it's secured properly. Along the other side, we'll continue on to the air inlet tube. Put that in position. Slide it right on there. Now it's time for the breather hose. Slide that on as far as we can. Give both of them a quick check to make sure they are secured to the air filter housing. If this popped out of this area, you just want to slide that right back in. Now the next thing I want to do is make my way over here to the AC lines. It's a good idea to use a little bit of electrical tape to try to tape off each one of these ports so no moisture or debris makes its way into the AC system, just in case someday you want to replace the compressor and have working AC again. Now what we'll do with the lines is just tuck them right down inside this area, out of the way. It's a good idea to use a wire tie of some sort, so while you're hitting bumps driving down the road, it doesn't come free and potentially get caught in anything. Let's get that wire tie on here. Now that we've taped up the lines over there, let's make our way back over here to the electrical wiring harnesses. I'll just use some electrical tape and tape up each one of these, and then we'll make sure that we put them in a place where they're safe and they don't get damaged. There's one. Put that right down on here. At this point, we can be sure that nothing's going to hit up against anything and get damaged. Let's tuck this right under there. Okay, friends, we fully installed our AC bypass pulley. At this point, make your way into the passenger compartment. Start up the vehicle, let it run for approximately 5 seconds, and turn it right back off. After that, you're going to make your way back out here to the engine compartment and triple check your belt routing. Make sure it's going over each one of the pulleys properly. If it's off by even one tooth, you're going to cause some serious damage to the belt. Aside from that, you can go ahead and close the hood and then take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.